Hi, it's Nick on the 8th of August, episode 2 this week of Why I Love A Course in Miracles, and I know it comes out, the text comes out back to front or mirrored, so you can't read it, but this is A Course in Miracles. That's what I'm talking about this week. It's been my kind of spiritual practice for the last 25 years or so. I'm just sharing some of the thoughts of why I love it. I think one of the reasons I love it as a kind of understanding is the simplicity of what it's teaching, although it doesn't oversimplify things. It's quite complex in many ways, but the simplicity of it I love, which is there's only ever two things going on, which is love and fear. Because I think it's so easy to think there's so much going on, but we can act out of love or we can act out of fear, and the Course in Miracles is very, very clear that that's the only two things going on. And it's very clear that most of this world is acting out of fear. And there's a lot of people that are acting out of love and a lot of people that are acting out of fear. So if there's only two things going on, love and fear, then what the Course teaches is that when it's not love that's going on, it's actually a call for love. So that all the stuff that's going on in the world isn't for us to judge it and say, well, that's terrible, you shouldn't be doing that. And at the same time, it's not condoning that behaviour. It's just saying that behaviour is born out of fear. That behaviour is born out of guilt, because guilt and fear go very much together in the Course in Miracles perspective. So if that behaviour is born out of fear or guilt, the answer, the antidote, is love. Is forgiveness. Doesn't mean we condone the behaviour. It just means that there's an antidote, and the antidote is to bring a loving response to that situation rather than a judgmental and another fearful response. Because we can all see fear meeting fear throughout the world. We can see it enough in our one-to-one relationships, in our communities, and globally. When fear meets fear, we have wars. We have all the stuff that goes on. So the Course is very much about saying there is only love and fear going on. And what I also love about the Course is it's both very personal in as much as it helps us understand our thinking and our experience, but in a way it's also very impersonal, because what it says is within you is the source of love, and that's the spirit within you. That's connected to all of creation, it's connected to God, it's part of God. So love is the essence of who each of us is. And in most of our minds there's so much fearful thinking, and it kind of says, well, fearful thinking is based on ego, and if you've got an ego, this is the kind of stuff that goes on in an ego. So in a way it makes it very impersonal, because when I was growing up I used to think that my kind of problems were very personal, if you like. Oh, it's only me that experiences this. And as I've got older and become a more in-depth student of A Course in Miracles, it's like, well, all of us that have egos, which is all of us, have this kind of thinking, have these kind of problems, have these kind of patterns going on in our life, patterns of sacrifice, patterns of guilt, patterns of all sorts. So it's kind of liberating for me to think, oh, I'm not the only one, and the Course talks very much about, we're not alone in our thinking, that we're all experiencing similar thinking, and our job is to, opportunity is to transform our thinking so that we can gradually dissolve the fearful, guilty thinking that occupies so much of our minds. And in the doing of that, the natural kind of loving, inspiring, creative thinking will naturally surface, because that's the essence of who we are already. So that's what I love about it. I hope that might make sense to you. By all means ask questions and I'll do my best to answer them if I can. Thank you very much for watching this. God bless. Have a good day.